The best part of waking up is Final Guys in your cup. Welcome to the Final Guys Horror Podcast, where every time I host, I sing for some reason. I am Jason Brant, running it this week, unfortunately for all of you. As always, I am joined by Hunter Shea.
Three guys, one cup, coming at you.
Oh, God. And Monster Man Jack Campisi.
Good morning, sunshine.
What a skill.
That's a decent skill right there, actually.
You like that? What is that? Was that the Folgers noise?
It was between that or I had the Gillette, the shaver commercial from the 90s. I had that in my head, too.
Costanza.
By Menon.
This week, we are going into Cult of Chucky, which we found for free on Netflix, which was outstanding because I didn't spend money on a Chucky movie. And we are also going to get into all of the shit we do every Halloween, which consists of us having no lives, watching a ton of movies, and I always dress like an idiot at some point this month.
And drinking pumpkin ale.
I wish I had some right now. It kind of bums me out I don't.
Oh, God, I don't have anything to drink. Jesus. I don't even have water.
Hunter, I've got the Coney Island.
I love
Freaktoberfest. So good.
Is it sweet or...
You know, it's actually better than I remember it being. Remember, it was kind of like a lot going on, a little harsh. It's very smooth this time.
I think a lot of these places change. They fiddle with the formula from year to year because I've noticed it's pumpkin ale's been pretty inconsistent.
I'd say that, except this is left over from last year.
Oh, God. That's why. You're drinking like sediment and crap.
That's fine.
Speaking of alcoholism, here in the Final Guys the last few weeks, we've had a running drinking game going during the live broadcast on YouTube. And it's because we're terrible speakers and have a ton of verbal tics. So we have somebody, a great listener and viewer, I guess, Sheridan.
Yeah, Sheridan.
Who puts together a drinking game for us every week. This week, can you give us the rules, Hunter?
Well, you got to drink every time each of us says our particular, whatever the phrase he's determined is our phrase for the week. So this week, for myself, it is vintage, which I think I've said 3 times in my life. Daughter, which that might get you dead from alcohol poisoning, and in the theater. For Jack, it is Blu-ray. This is for you and Babysitter.
Well, I saw The Babysitter, and I would probably buy it on Blu-ray.
Drink. And Jason, yours is shit all over a lot. And oh my God, I can't read what I wrote.
I do say shit all over a lot. So
yeah, but usually it's when one of us isn't here, and then we refer to the guy who's missing as
right.
So everyone enjoy dying from alcohol poisoning.
This episode's going to be vintage.
Now, one more thing before we get into
this
the
episode
news.
Is for you.
Everyone who's listened to past episodes know our obsession with the Bad Beniverse on Amazon Prime. If you haven't seen those, go watch Bad Ben and Batter Ben. They're hilarious and amazing. But this past Friday, they did a live viewing on Facebook with the cast, the director, the writer, I don't know, whatever the hell else. He does everything. They sat and watched the movie and talked during it. It was actually a neat little thing. I got to hop in during the last half and listen. And the Final Guys got mentioned multiple times by the cast of Matt and Jackie, who starred in the movie as the paranormal hunting team. They actually are a comedy sketch duo called The Incredible Shrinking Matt and Jackie. They've got a bunch of stuff on YouTube. They've got a pretty nice Facebook presence. I checked them out. They actually have some pretty funny stuff.
Did they have anything on Blu-ray?
Or in the theater?
Yeah, I think they'd shit all over Blu-ray. So they loved it. They have a great sense of humor about it. And I'm thinking we should probably reach out to them at some point, see if we can have them on here to talk about the making of that thing. And I'm hoping there might be more of them in the Bad Beniverse at the future. They were kind of dropping some hints. So if you guys
I
are
wasn't
listening
here for the Bad Ben show, but that movie clearly left it open for the future adventures of...
Yeah, it's going to be called Worser Ben.
Well, now he's a paranormal investigator, so the floodgates are wide open now.
Oh, God.
So if you guys are listening, which from the sounds of it, you do quite a bit now that you found us, reach out to us, and we'd love to have you on here at some point. Let's figure something out and get it going.
Yeah, please. We want you here. Hang
And
out.
anyone in the Philadelphia area, they are doing a viewing of Batter Ben with the cast on Sunday. Is it the 28th? Is that right? Sunday the 29th at
29th,
8:30
yeah.
p.m. You can find it on Batter Ben on Facebook.
If they ever want to come to the tri-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, we will totally help them execute a Bad Ben event in this area. So
I will be their PA. So you need a PA? I'm in. You got me.
And Jackie, we love your uniform. It was hilarious and the shit.
I'll be a PA in your uniform.
hey, she's
All
easy
right.
on the eyes, man.
Jack, hit us with the news.
All right. This first one's for you, Jason.
Oh boy.
Actually, this first one's for Spencer because he gave it to us last second before we started the show. This breaking news: Shudder has released the Universal Monsters collection on their platform. So we're heading into the 2-week stretch before Halloween. It's always good to catch up on a Universal monster movie or two.
Mm-hmm.
Shudders, which is about time because I hate having to you can go to the library and get those on Blu-ray. So now it's nice that you could just get them here instead.
You can come to my house.
Right.
Bring a beer. We'll watch it together.
How many are there?
Oh my God, there's a lot.
There's many. Okay. So let's talk about sequels because we all love sequels. Long-running rumors and buzz about would there ever be a Beetlejuice 2? Well, it's nothing definite, but the folks at whatever studio this is have hired a new writer, Mike, and I cannot even pronounce his last name, Vukadinovich.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Who he's actually writing Mr. Toad's Wild Ride movie for Disney, and he did some work on the Marvel series, The Runaways, that's going to be coming out at some point. So they've got a writer attached to this, Burton and Keaton, who are currently working together on a Dumbo movie. Dear God. Both said that they would be up for resurrecting Beetlejuice, but at this point, nobody is signed. So,
the good thing is they have waited now long enough so Michael Keaton can be Beetlejuice without any makeup whatsoever.
that is why I won't do 2 shows a night.
Put the black and white striped outfit on him. He's good to go.
He was looking a little weathered in Spider-Man, but
Holy cow.
he's moving pretty good.
He's awesome.
He went to the John Carpenter School of Aging.
It's not that bad.
Well, Carpenter's a little older than he is.
Listen, if you want to talk about people who aged, let's go Alec Baldwin, Winona Ryder. I think Keaton looks the best out of everybody in that. Gina Davis.
What about the guy who played Otho? I bet he looks good. I bet because he's got a lot of collagen. So I bet he looks still full-figured faced.
I am curious how Beetlejuice would work with kind of a modern aesthetic, not to sound super douchey, but the 80s permeated every frame of that movie. The house they were in, the costumes, everything was so 80s. I'm curious how it would feel.
The Tim Burton special effects too.
Definitely.
People, accepted it back then. Now, I don't know.
He'd have to step up the game. I love the cartoon. I used to watch the cartoon on Saturdays.
I never watched one episode of the cartoon.
Even though I was in college. I was still watching it.
Anywho,
Horton here's
this
good.
is probably something, Hunter, this is for you because you probably watched this show.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Roswell from the CW where Katherine Heigl got her start?
I never watched Roswell because I'm not a big CW fan, but
The closest I came to watching Roswell was having the Katherine Heigl Maxim magazine of her in the pool.
I had so many things to say to that right now. Continue.
Well, CW is rebooting Roswell. Let's see. A 1-hour drama based on the Roswell High book series by Melinda Metz. Synopsis. I'm going to read this poorly. After reluctantly returning to her tourist trap hometown of Roswell, New Mexico, the daughter of undocumented immigrants discovers a shocking truth about her teenage crush who is now a police officer. He's an alien who has kept his unearthly abilities hidden his entire life. She protects his secret as the two reconnect and begin to investigate his origins. But when a violent attack and long-standing government cover-up point to greater alien presence on Earth, the politics of fear and hatred threaten to expose him and destroy their deepening romance.
I never really watched the original. So.
Yeah, that interests me as much as the original.
Right.
Which is not at all. And I love alien stuff, and you do too, Jason. But and they dropped a couple of new alien UFO flicks on Netflix within like the last week.
Can't wait to waste my time on this.
I'm sure they're awful, but I'm going to watch them.
Okay, next one is for both of you. Anybody here see The Strangers?
Oh yeah, I really like that movie.
Good flick, right?
Yep.
What's her name? Liv Tyler. Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was in that briefly.
That's right.
I don't remember that.
Well, just this morning I happened upon the first image from the sequel.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you did The Stranger on yourself in the morning. Hey, I slept on my arm. I can't feel my hand. I might as well do something.
Gross.
So Strangers Prey at Night, but Prey, Prey at Night, is going to be released nationwide on March 9th, 2018. It will star Christina Hendricks, Martin Henderson, Bailey Madison, Lewis Pullman. Basically, Christina Hendricks is in this.
All right. Yes, I'm in for that.
A family's road trip takes a dangerous turn when they arrive at a secluded mobile home park to stay with some relatives and find it mysteriously deserted. Under the cover of darkness, three masked psychopaths pay them a visit to test the family's every limit as they struggle to survive.
I'll watch that because I really like the original.
First one's so good that I'll check it out. Plus, we got to watch so many movies for this podcast that, of course, we're going to watch it. Hope it's good.
One of us will watch it at least, but I think I'm going to dive into.
Here's the hope.
Okay. Has anybody you're probably familiar with, but have you ever been to the Winchester House in California?
I have the magnet that you brought me back from the Winchester House.
Yes. So the Winchester House, where is that? It's just south of San Francisco.
It's near Wales, Virginia.
Agree to disagree. So that's the house where the woman from the Winchester rifle fortune kept building this weird house because she thought spirits were trying to get her, and there's hallways that go nowhere and staircases that go nowhere and open up into open drops or into walls and everything.
It's a cool house, man.
It's very cool, and they do ghost hunter kind of stuff from there every Halloween. When you actually go to it, it's a tourist attraction. They actually have turnstiles and stuff to get in, so it's very cool. It's like, I think it's like technically a mile walk when you do the whole thing. So it's pretty cool. Well, they're making a movie which originally was going to be called Winchester, but they've renamed it Winchester: The House That Ghosts Built. Just to make sure you knew.
Well, not that they want to make sure that like people who are against the NRA don't go see it.
Yes.
Don't want to alienate people.
It's going to be released on February 2nd of next year.
I hope it's as good as the Ghosts of Whaley House.
Jesus.
Which was a total turd.
The big news on this, Helen Mirren is going to play the Winchester, Mrs. Winchester.
Really?
And Jason Clarke, who I think is the guy from like Zero Dark 30 and the Terminator, the latest Terminator. He was John Connor. I think he's in it too.
His grandfather invented the Clark bar.
Interesting.
I have no idea.
I can't back that up.
But there's all right, some gravitas in the casting there.
Hey, listen, Helen Mirren.
Around.
Who doesn't love Helen Mirren?
Yeah, that's a pretty big get.
Morgana from Excalibur.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anal Nathrak Uthvas.
So, any witty things to say about that? This is kind of the part of the podcast where you react funny.
I don't really have anything.
You don't want to shit all over it, Jason?
No, you said Helen Mirren. I was like, oh, all right.
Jack, will it be in the theater?
Yes. I said that.
It's not going straight to Blu-ray?
Really released on February 2nd, which actually puts it opposite the new Cloverfield movie.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
which
not good.
the Cloverfield movie was supposed to be out this month.
Well, I have a feeling that the Cloverfield movie is going to trump this movie. So
It might.
By a lot.
I'll go take my daughter to see it.
I'll probably see them both.
I'm curious just because I've been to the Winchester House. I had a great time there. So that's all I got for news, friends.
That's a lot of news. That's a lot of good news. You didn't
All
really make
right.
me too angry.
Yeah, nothing makes me want to rage. Solid week. Let's get into some curation, boys. What did you watch this week, Hunter?
Well, like I told you earlier, I'm up to 33 movies that I've watched in October. So it was a huge list. And I said, let me just settle on like a couple. So I'm going to talk about two that are like the favorites that I've watched the last week.
33 in 17 days.
Hunter,
Piece of cake.
my first movie will be the one that you and I watched together after we did Monster Men.
Oh, really?
So that could be, when you're ready to end, let's bridge with that one.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
One that I watch, and I watch this every year, and every year I like it more and more and more. It's Ty West's The House of the Devil,
Oh,
which it's got such a throwback feel. It feels like a late 70s, early 80s movie, and that's when it's set. It's set in 1983, I believe, and it's encompassing all that satanic panic that was happening back in the day. I mean, Jack, you remember, you're old enough to remember everyone was freaking out about satanic cults when we were kids.
oh yeah.
And
That
at which
shit
point,
lasted into the 90s.
in my neighborhood, it was even worse because they were like, oh, it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. And then the son of Sam was in a satanic cult a few blocks away. So it was kind of justified. So The House of the Devil, it's about a college girl. She's renting an apartment. She's going to get an apartment. Dee Wallace is her landlady, and she needs to come up with $300. And she doesn't have. I think she says she has like $84 to her name. She sees an ad on the bulletin board at school for a babysitter needed. That night is going to be a big eclipse.
Babysitter?
A babysitter.
Okay.
It's weird how I think Sheridan has some psychic powers. So she answers the ad, and it turns out this strange guy is able to call her at a number that he should know where she's at. But she agrees to do it. Her girlfriend takes her there. It's Tom Noonan, who I think he could replace Angus Scrimm if you wanted to do more Phantasm movies.
Oh, yes. That's a great call.
Because he is a tall man and he looks scraggly and otherworldly.
Go back and watch Manhunter. He plays the Tooth Fairy. He's awesome in that.
He's phenomenal. He's in Last Action Hero, Late Phases. He's awesome. So
he's also in Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. She gets to the house. It's a beautiful big house, and he's there, and he lays it on her that she's not babysitting a baby. She's babysitting his mother-in-law. And he's very calm, but he's kind of strange, and he offers her like $400 to do it, which she agrees to do. And he disappears because they're going to go to this eclipse watching party, and she's kind of like in the house wandering around and stuff. She doesn't have to go see the old lady that's upstairs. But then things go horribly, horribly awry. I like the movie because it builds up this atmosphere and the character of the girl played, that we all know her as Jocelyn Donahue.
Love her.
She was in what's that movie? Summer Camp.
Mm-hmm.
So she was in that. She was in Insidious 2. She's also was in last year's Dead Awake, but I haven't seen that yet.
She's a modern screen cream.
Scream cream?
Scream.
In my drinking game, I have to drink when you say that. I never thought you would actually do it.
Wow.
Scream cream.
Wow. That was something.
Well, what made me have to watch this, other than being Horrotober, we were in the car, and I heard One Thing Leads to Another by The Fix. That song, it's Pavlovian. When I hear that song, I think The House of the Devil, because in the movie, she puts on her Walkman and her thing, and she's dancing around the house and knocks over a vase and stuff. So that movie, even though that song is connected with so much stuff in the 80s for me, it's rewired my brain to The House of the Devil. There are some things that happen here that just happen out of the blue and kind of are shocking. And the last act of this movie is fucking bonkers. They spare no expense to make you just grossed out. And it's a really cool movie, and it has a dire ending. Which
It's a slow build up and a huge payoff.
yes,
And the payoff is so great because few movies you think, are they going to go there or not? And they go there.
Yeah, the Ty West. I love Ty West stuff. I mean, he did The Innkeepers.
Good flick.
What's that one? The Sacrament. And
with the Cult.
He's doing a lot of TV now. He's doing episodes of The Exorcist, Wayward Pines, Scream, that show on MTV. So he's kind of branching out. But I wish he'd get back to horror movies because I love The House of the Devil. But
I
don't
adore
give me a
that movie.
sequel.
That's actually my favorite Ty West movie.
Yeah, I think it is. It might have jumped because I watched The Innkeepers too, and I think I like The House of the Devil a little more.
Yep.
The other one I watched, Jack, you're old enough to remember this when it came out. Humanoids from the Deep.
Oh, nice.
I have that movie.
As a Creature from the Black Lagoon fan, I love anything that comes fish monsters that come from the water. This is a Roger Corman, came out of his production studio. It's from 1980. What drew me to this first when I first saw it as a kid was it had Doug McClure, which for anybody growing up in the 70s and 80s, Doug McClure was the shit.
He was in everything.
He was in The Land That Time Forgot, The People That Time Forgot, At the Earth's Core.
Anytime, he's in that Bermuda Triangle movie I talked about on Monster Man one time.
Anytime you had to get really deep into the earth, you call Troy McClure. Or Doug McClure.
Yeah, Troy McClure comes from Doug McClure, totally.
Yeah, if you guys are into The Simpsons, that's where he comes from. And he was also on every 80s TV show that there was. From Chips to Spencer for Hire and Remington Steele, he was on all of them. In this movie, this takes a biogenetically engineered fish that grow into these man things that come out of the water at this little fishing town specifically to rape every hot girl they can get their gills and claws on. It's brutal. We watched it I watched it with my wife, and she could not believe that in the first 5 minutes they killed a child and then a dog.
Oh.
They just said, just do whatever you're not supposed to do. Just be merciless and brutal. And it's bloody as hell. Every girl who was about to get attacked, they ripped their tops off. So there's flopping all around as they rip their tops off, and they're screaming.
I'm jotting this down. Where did you see this, on Shudder, on Prime, or?
I own the Blu-ray.
Oh, so Blu-ray.
Yeah, it is. It does have Blu-ray. It's a very misogynistic movie, made even odder that it's directed by a woman. So this woman, Barbara Peters, who did a lot of work with Corman, doing a lot of like exploitation flicks in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When you see this movie and you realize the woman directed it, you just it boggles the mind. But if you want a lot of blood, some racism, sexism, sea monsters, it's got it all.
Yeah, really.
It's one of my favorite sea monsters. It's Creature from the Black Lagoon and Humanoids from the Deep. Those are my 1 and 2 for sea.
And Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
There's Squeam Creams.
It's like television.
So those are my two favorite of the week. And you guys can only enhance your Horrotober if you watch those movies.
Well, then
none of them are in the theater right now.
Is that
so
what you
see them on Blu-ray? Okay, so I went over to Hunter's house to Studio 13 for us to shoot our Monster Man Halloween shows. Had a great time. And then we did our tradition. We watched a couple of horror movies. And Mr. Shea exposed me to a movie I had never heard of. I think it's like a 2010 movie called The Loved Ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And this movie is tremendous. It starts off a little weird. You're like, what the hell's going on? It goes completely insane, and it's in a good way. Like, it gets better and better as it gets crazier and crazier. I don't even know how to describe the plot except like a
strange teenage girl and her daddy abduct dudes because they want to.
They kind of like, she dresses up like she's going to the prom, and she's got this guy tied to a chair, and they basically like,
oh my god, the things they do to him.
but it's crazy. It's entertaining. This came out of left field. I'd never heard of this movie. Now, after we saw this, I'm flicking around the other day, and I saw the thumbnail on one of my on Amazon or Shudder or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'd never heard of this before. And now all of a sudden, there it is.
I am so glad I opened this up to you because this has been one of my go-tos for the last few years.
Crushed it. This is I'm definitely going to watch this again like next year. And I can't. This is one of those ones like, yep, you want a good horror movie? That's crazy. Watch this one. Definitely. Loved Ones.
Something in the Water Down Under, man.
Yeah, this was kind of like Hounds of Love, but wackier.
Yes, way wackier.
Way wackier.
Way wackier. Rackier. Rack, rack.
Hilarious.
I screamed it. Left of my pine is hanging out on this one.
One of the movies I watched is new to Netflix. It's The Babysitter. But I've decided let's save that one for next week's movie. What do you think?
Sure.
Works for
All
me.
right. So we won't talk about The Babysitter. However, I did go back to watch an old movie and watch Trilogy of Terror, which is the Karen Black classic, where it's 3 different stories, all starring Karen Black. But everybody remembers it for the fetish doll that attacks her at the end. And I felt like coming off Chucky, go back and watch the original killer doll. Who is just, if you haven't seen Trilogy of Terror, sit through the first 2. They're fine. It almost feels like it's a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
And then just sit back and enjoy that third one is just the best. What's his name? Richard Matheson wrote the original story.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's great.
And it's great. And I hadn't really sat down and watched it in a long time and had a blast. And it's like, if it's an hour, I think, it's a short watch as well. So
I would love to mate Talking Tina from the Twilight Zone with the Zuni fetish doll and see what we get.
What was the name of this movie again?
Trilogy of Terror.
Karen Black, who I spent time with at a resort in Maine for 3 days. She was
looking good.
She was lovely.
And somewhere in the archives is an awesome picture of you and me and that fetish doll at Chiller.
That's right.
We should have. Well, this year, maybe we say that and then like we go,
I'd rather spend money on booze.
Quick shout out. Spence notified me that Horror of Dracula was on. I think it was AMC or something like that. So I popped that on the other night, Sunday night. So that was a bonus. I was like, what am I going to watch? Classic. So I watched that. Everybody knows I love that movie, so I'm not going to dwell on it. The last one I want to talk about is and Jason, maybe we could bridge us two. I watched Better Watch Out, which is a Christmas themed horror movie that's kind of a horror comedy, but do not downplay the horror part of it because of the comedy. It's a well balanced movie with both, and I gotta tell you, I freaking love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. I would say don't watch the trailer, or if you do watch the trailer, don't watch the whole thing. Like, get a taste of it, because the less you know, the better. Because this movie's going to go somewhere, and you're just going to, if the less you know, the more you're going to love it.
I've tried to avoid everything. I put it on my watch list. That's the extent of what I'm doing.
So I watched it, and then I had a friend of mine that I work with. I said, go home and watch this and come back tomorrow. He came back, and he's like, oh my God, you're so right. That was great. So consensus, the two of us. For me personally, it's one of my favorite movies of the year. Don't wait for Christmas to see this. I don't know, Jason, why don't you take the baton and we can...
Oh, wait, before you do that, I forgot one thing. I want to give a shout out to Pam Morris. This is her book that came in the mail today. The Witch's Backbone, Part 1, The Curse.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'll be diving into this as soon as I get done with The Stand, which is just killing me physically.
About 8 years from now.
I'm up in the 800s right now, but I physically am having a rough time with this book.
If you watch our Monster Men episode that's up right now, our Halloween episode, not only do we show the giant book that he's reading, but we drop it on a snowball.
Those
Post-it
cakes.
snowball.
And then we drop the snowball on the book.
Yes.
And not much happens.
So my opinion of Better Watch Out, I thought it was really good. I dug the hell out of it. The only I don't want to say anything because it'll get into spoilers. There was one thing there was a little bit of suspension of disbelief because of the age of someone in it, but that was really my only issue. It does a great job of ramping up the insanity. Like at the beginning, oh, okay, this is all right, this isn't too bad, and then by the end, it's like, Jesus Christ, this shit is way out of control.
Yes.
So I like the pacing of it a lot. I thought the acting was good too. Normally you get kids around this age, it can get a little wonky, but it was pretty on point. It's a good movie.
That's a good description of it. It does keep amping up.
The end, you can't believe what's happening.
Yeah.
And they did it in a way that it's not overly gory. This movie's not very gory at all, but it's very intense. So I liked it.
And they don't saturate it with the humor. There's just enough there to give it.
Yes, particularly because the humor is much more front-loaded. I felt towards the end, it's not very funny anymore.
Yeah.
But so they did a good job with that. All right, I'll bang mine out quick so we can get to this main feature.
Scream Cream it.
Jack, on your recommendation, I went to Netflix and watched Don't Kill It, the Mike Mendez, Dolph Lundgren movie. Like all of Mike Mendez's movies, it's fun. Some of the effects are just crap. Some of it, you're like, why did you do that? But there's a quality to it that I always enjoy his films, no matter what the budget is. Some of Dolph Lundgren's dialogue, he has this one part in particular I keep thinking of when he's in the police station, and he has this long, rambling monologue while they're trying to kick him out of this room. I couldn't understand half of what he was saying because of his accent. But it was just fun. There's some good stuff in this. I would recommend everybody check it out. It's not the greatest thing you'll ever see, but it's a good Netflix movie. I quite enjoyed it.
It's on my list.
It's good stuff. I like seeing Dolph Lundgren in something like this. Then I went, after Better Watch Out, I wanted to watch something that continued being fun, so I went back and watched Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives.
Oh, I just watched that too.
This is probably my favorite Friday the 13th movie. I think I like it better than the first one because this movie is so much fun. The kills are great. Jason's great. There's a lot of laughs. It's the first movie where they truly, truly embrace the supernatural element, where he just becomes this unstoppable force. But they do it in a way that's pretty funny, and man, I love the kills in this movie. When he folds the sheriff in half, that is just the best. So
we were just talking about what are Jason's best kills, and that was a contender for the best one.
What was the best one?
I think that's what won.
Oh, that's what won? Okay. I love that one.
The ending was, can you really pick one? But
it's hard.
Yeah, they have this little moment where you feel like the sheriff could win because he's really giving it to Jason with a rock to the head, and he just folds him over. And that's the end of him.
And they kind of revisit that in Freddy versus Jason when he folds the girl in the bed.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
That movie, the Part 6 it's funny. It's got a lot of humor in it. Like they had a good time with it. And I remember, to me, that's one of my favorite movie experiences in the theater of my entire life. It's happened during that movie. So that holds a high place in my heart.
I wish I could have seen this one in the movie because it's just so much damn fun. It's just a good movie. I actually got this on Amazon. It was, I think, $4 to rent. I watched on Friday the 13th last week. It was like $4 to rent, but $5 to buy. So I got the HD version on Amazon for like $5. So
not the Blu-ray.
If you have Starz Network, every Friday the 13th movie is on there on demand this month.
Very nice.
Oh, is it? Ooh.
Yep. So check it out.
So in our office, we just went on Friday the 13th. We just were playing those in the background. So we got 1 through 3. So I didn't sit down and watch them start to finish. I would just, as I heard things, walk over and watch the good parts. And then Hunter, our mutual friend Jay, who was like an encyclopedia.
Oh yeah.
Was pointing out like editing flaws that I never noticed before and things like that. I'm like, oh my God.
I don't want to know the flaws. I just want to enjoy.
Those were cheaply made films.
Yeah, they were.
All right, and finally, I read a book this week, in 1 week, if you can believe it.
Holy crap.
Daughter of Bathory by A.R. Wise. It was like $4 on Amazon. I'd read one or two of his other books. He's a good writer. So I thought, oh, I'll check this one out. This book is insane. It is so freaking gory. There's
Really?
so much insanity and nastiness in this. It shocked the hell out of me. There were a couple scenes in this. I'm like, my God, why did he write this?
Well,
But-
it's the Madame Bathory story, kind of, right? So
it's
sick.
about this woman who's one of the daughters of Bathory, and she has a worm inside her that gives her powers. Essentially, it makes her stronger, it makes her younger, makes her skin tougher, and she has a hive of men who live with her. And if she lets them drink her blood or have sex with her, they get stronger. So they're devoted and obsessed with her, and they do everything that she wants. And it's about like she needs to change the parasite inside her out because it's dying, and things just kind of get really hectic and crazy and super gory.
This
So that's-
nonfiction.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you have a hive of men living with you, right, Jack?
Yeah, we play beekeeper.
Bloodletting and docking every night.
It's really more honey, and
oh Jesus.
we do the John Belushi.
Butterfly
The
kisses
bees.
on my neck.
All right, we're running long here, so let's just jump right into it. This week we are talking Cult of Chucky, the 74th Child's Play movie, I believe. It's
Yeah.
It's not. There's never enough. It's 8th, right?
That sounds right. I'm not even sure. I
7th
think
or
so. It is free on Netflix, so anyone who has Netflix, go check it out. And Hunter, would you like to give us a quick synopsis, a very quick synopsis?
Oh God. All right. Well, it picks up where Curse of Chucky kind of left off. So you've got, oh my God, I can't remember her name.
Brad Dourif's daughter.
It's her daughter. Yeah, Fiona Dourif. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Anyway, they assume that she's responsible for all the murders that happened in Curse of Chucky. So they put her into this bizarre, giant. It's like a prison or a mental home asylum. Or it's really hard to tell what the hell it is. It's huge on the outside, but there's only like 6 people on the inside.
Yeah,
And it's crumbling on the outside, but pristine and white, like the inside of a spaceship. So weird. And she goes in there, and she's in a wheelchair, and then Chucky comes back, and people die. How about that? Andy's there too,
That
as is
pretty much sums
Tiffany.
it up.
Yep, there we go.
It all kills people.
It's fun, snarky, murdering mayhem.
Jack, what did you think of Cult of Chucky?
first of all, I've not watched a Chucky movie in a long time, so I did not see the one prior to this, and my memory of Chucky movies is spotty. However, I did not need to see the old movies to get up to speed pretty quickly. And I think I have a new appreciation for Netflix. This is what I have Netflix for, is if they do this, this is a higher rung horror movie that I didn't have to pay to see. I'm paying for a subscription, and this is pretty good content. If I had pay-per-viewed this, I don't know how I would have felt. And maybe this is a weird way of reviewing a movie, but it's a new reality. We're paying subscriptions for things, and you go into Netflix horror movies, and there's a lot of crap. So when something new like this comes, which I understand that they actually did a Blu-ray box set of this, and they included this in the box set, so to incentivize people to buy it. And then they also did this VOD release. I'm so glad they did, because I enjoyed the movie. I thought the first half was okay, and then the second half really kicks into gear, and I enjoyed you get a lot of laughs and a lot of good kills and things like that, which is all I'm looking for in a Chucky movie. To be honest with you, I thought this movie like crushes the Annabelle movies, because this is what I'm looking for in a killer doll movie.
A doll that actually moves?
Yeah. And he's pretty conniving. And then the crap that happens at the end, we can talk about in spoilers, made it for me. Because there's a point where I'm watching going, okay, this is all right. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, here we go. And it was a blast, like, for the last half of the movie. Also, just while I enjoyed the movie, I had mixed feelings of Brad Dourif's daughter. I'm like, she's hot. Oh, she looks exactly like her father.
Oh
No, wait,
God,
she's hot. She was like the chick in Seinfeld. Would she depend on what light she was in?
that's what we said when we watched it. That's that Seinfeld lady. Oh my God.
So this movie confused you sexually, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, it took Jack a long time to have to reach for that box of tissues.
You finally realized your attraction to Brad Dourif.
Red light, green light, stop.
Just fill in your doll jokes as well. It might as well.
Hunter, what you think?
I got it at Redbox because I wasn't aware it was on demand, but I'm glad I did because the video on demand and the Redbox version has extra content at the end that you don't get on Netflix. So it's nothing much, but it is kind of cool if you're a real big fan of the series. It's a cool little throw in. I had a great time with this. I have liked all of the Chucky movies. Even on watching them again, the first time I enjoyed them. The second viewing, I liked them even more. I think what helps these movies are the consistency. So all of them are written by Don Mancini, and it is like a big family because the guy who plays Andy, it's the same. It was the little kid who played Andy in Child's Play, and you've got Don is there, and he brings back what's her face, Tiffany.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so sad.
She's basically just playing herself.
The poker player.
Continue.
I'll Google her while we're talking.
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly.
Thank you.
So sad. I kept thinking Meg Tilly. I'm like, I know she's not Meg Tilly.
Meg Tilly, last time we saw her was The Big Chill. Or
Yeah.
Psycho 2.
Exactly. So, and then you've got Brad Dourif has been, he played Charles Lee Ray, and he's also Chucky, and now you have his daughter in it. So there's this consistency, and there's this, they're kind of growing into this together. And I think that's what gives this series, it's solid. It's solid all the way through. Some people shit on Seed of Chucky, but I think that one's a blast too. And to me, the snarkiness and the funny stuff that goes on, I can accept that more coming out of a doll than Freddy Krueger, who's supposed to be terrifying. Coming out of a doll, it's just funny. And then watching what he does, it's even more hysterical. This movie gave me a lot of good kills, a lot of gore when it had to, a lot of nods to the rest of the series. I thought it was awesome. In fact, I would have paid to see this in a theater, believe it or not, because the stuff, what's out right now is that friend request or whatever. If that makes it a theater and people paying, screw that. People should pay to see this. But I think if you find it on Netflix, man, that's a great find for Horrotober or any month. So gets my thumb up.
Wow,
up his butt.
big thumbs up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much where you are, Jack. I like this movie. It was fun. It's a perfect Netflix movie. If we'd gone to see this in the theater, I probably wouldn't have been very happy. It's not to say it's not enjoyable. It's just not something I would have wanted to drop $20 to go see. I also agree with you, Hunter, in that the consistency of this series is something I find pretty remarkable, actually. When you watch Friday the 13th is just like up and down and up and down. Freddy is just like a nosedive from 3 down.
Right.
It's not even a nosedive. It's like a bomb went off in that series.
Hellraiser too.
Oh, Hellraiser's the worst. Oh my God. After Hellraiser 2, it's like softcore porns have better stories and acting than those. But this series is steady. The first one is still my favorite by far. I actually think the first one is a really good movie. Like a solidly made horror movie. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of these I like to varying degrees. The ones that are a little more comedic, sometimes I liked more. And this one was a little more horror, and I liked it too. So it works. It just keeps going. I love the consistency, like you said, with the actors. It kind of reminds me of Phantasm in that way, where they keep the same actors and they're just going through the decades doing their thing. I dig that. Is it the best horror movie of the year? No. Is it going to make my top 10? No. But for a Netflix movie, I dug it.
Yeah, exactly. You could do a lot worse.
You really could.
Cult of Chucky.
One thing, it was really brightly lit. Did anybody else notice that? It was almost like a TV movie with the lighting. I don't know if that was to make it sterile, like the hospital, trying to get some kind of vibe, but
yeah, I think
the lighting was very clean.
That hospital looked like the interior of the ship in 2001.
Yeah.
It was because I guess that's the palette that they wanted to use for the whole movie.
It probably saved them on budget too.
Very well may have. It's just something I noticed. I did feel like there were a couple points where it felt a little slow to me, and I kept wanting to reach for my phone. But it ramped up at the end, and this definitely leads into another movie. They are not shy about that at all.
No, and I think it's doing well enough so that they're going to get another one.
This is a perfect series to me for Netflix to pay for and to just keep making these at this budget, just keep the story going. I think a lot of people would be pretty happy with that.
And Don Mancini's young. He's only in his like mid-50s or something. So there's more to come, brother.
Well,
Really?
without getting into spoilers yet, the way they ended this, I'd actually love to see what comes next based on what happened at the end. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Tell
I
me-
guess we can get into spoilers, but it's a Child's Play movie. Know what's
Yeah.
going to happen for the most part.
well, let's definitely get into spoilers because two major things happen. One towards the end of the movie, and then the very end of the movie.
Well,
And-
before we go to the end, I love the beginning where Andy, excuse me, has some compound and he's got the Chucky scarred up head on a pedestal that he tortures regularly.
And he smokes weed with it.
But they're also like friends. So he
it's
he
like his
can't-
only friend that he hits with a blowtorch with.
staple guns. Like he's got a whole chest of tools that he uses to like just torture the Chucky head.
That was a fun thing. And I liked when he was trying to show someone that the doll head was alive and they just thought it was a special effect and kicked him out.
Yeah, it's a movie that's very self-aware too. There's a lot of jokes that it makes on its own expense, but I love the torturing the Chucky head thing. I want to see more of that.
I love that because, like, if you fast forward and a person who went, if this really happened, the little kid from that movie would be so screwed up as an adult. And if
be
there's
torturing a doll's
supernatural, yeah, like I love when he's on the date and it's just like not going well.
Oh my
We're
god.
talking about the Second Amendment. I'm like, oh God. They did it in a fun way, though. They didn't make it too political or anything where it was annoying. It was just like for a joke almost.
Yeah,
That's good. All right, let's delve into spoilers here for a couple minutes.
people
Not
die.
that there's many, but before we do, it seems pretty unanimous. We all think it's 100% worth a view on Netflix, right?
Oh
Definitely.
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, Jack. Spoilers again, people. Jack, you had a couple things you want to bring up about the end.
Yeah, so I guess first of all, so Brad Dourif's daughter, what's her name?
Oh,
no
her
idea.
Fiona Dorff.
Fiona. I think she does a
Fiona.
really good job in this movie. She's a good actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes from being a tortured, wheelchair-bound victim, fighting for her life, kind of giving up at one point, to getting possessed by Chucky and strolling out. She had a real Aubrey Plaza vibe to her once she went evil.
Yeah, I can see that.
Did you see that mutant show that Aubrey Plaza was on, Legion?
No.
She's so great in it, and this girl was channeling that. So once Chucky is in her, I'm like, oh my god, we got to see a movie with her as the big bad now. So I'm hoping for that because she's shown a lot of range.
That's what the next one is, man. She's part of the cult.
Now the thing that made me go from like this is okay to oh man I'm having a blast was once there was a whole bunch of Chuckies running around.
Oh my god.
And his ritual has gone from like a big thing that you could interrupt very easily because it took so long to do to and I think they even reference it. Like he went to a website and figured out how to do it faster.
You went to like voodoo.com or something like that.
And all of a sudden there's like, and they have different looks so you can tell them apart. You've got scarred
Yeah.
Chucky, short hair Chucky.
I love that when they were deciding whether they were going to kill her or Andy. There's like deciding who's getting the guy with the short haircut. Like, oh fuck yeah, you do it, man, with that stupid haircut.
Okay, you deserve it.
So the part you're talking about is where I feel like some people are going to dislike this movie and some people will really like it, is when he starts basically cloning himself.
Yes.
People are either going to get on that train and like it or they're going to get the hell off because it gets ridiculous, but in a fun way. And, you know, he's
Right.
possessing people and cloning himself and it just gets crazy. And yeah, he says like 4 words and he's like animates something. You know, it's. So,
But you can't have a cult without followers, as Final Guys knows with Pam. So, it's necessary.
If
we're not
this
doing
movie,
Seed of
if
Final
this
Guys,
movie
though.
doesn't go over the top like that, then why bother? It's a freaking wise ass killer doll. That's what we want from this. I'll take my subtlety in House of the Devil. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to this looking for something like complex and deep and art house, go stick your head up your ass.
Well, I wonder with this being on Netflix, if a lot more people will see this than saw maybe Seed of Chucky or Bride of Chucky. I wonder if this will get a bigger audience and what they'll think of it.
And if it does well, I wonder if Netflix will bring the rest into the fold so we can watch them there.
It is pretty interesting if you go back and watch the first one. Tonally, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
That first movie is pretty serious and pretty hardcore. And
Yeah.
in this, he's just like going to voodoo.com and
Well,
Killing
once he's
himself.
already married a doll, had a baby. Oh, that was the one thing I want. All they had was Tiffany in the backseat of that car with Jennifer Tilly. I wanted to see Tiffany getting in on the action. That was my only disappointment in this movie. But I got to wait for next one.
so I don't remember because I honestly don't know which of these movies I've seen and I haven't. What's the difference between Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany?
You know what? I don't remember either. They are each other. So I forget how
Because
it
for a
happened.
while I thought that Jennifer Tilly was like had died and gone into the doll. Now there's two of them. So is she doing the same thing? I don't know. I didn't question it. It was fine.
Right. I just love seeing Jennifer Tilly, first of all. She's like 60 years old and looks banging. And I love that. I love the Tiffany doll.
Yeah, it's, she seemed like she was baked the entire time she was on screen too.
is she actually acting? Like,
No.
it seems like it's just her. That's always the impression I got.
And they even tell her that you look like Jennifer Tilly.
Did you ever see the remake of The Getaway that she's in? It's like Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Yes.
Oh man, she's so annoying in that movie.
But then go see her in, what's that, Midnight at the Blue Iguana, where she's the stripper?
No. What's the movie with her and Gina Gershon where they have
Oh.
that scene?
Bondage?
Bound.
Bound. There we go. I was close.
That's one to get on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that movie's special.
Did a plane just land in someone's house?
I heard
What
that
was
too.
that?
Oh, that's a truck driving by. Jesus, you heard that?
No trains, just trucks.
Sounded
a
like
loud
he's
neighborhood.
parking in there. Any other
Jack has
spoilers?
big people, you have dogs. How much can you spoil it? I mean, you pretty much know what's going to happen, except it does have a cliffhanger ending. Christ
You
almighty.
have passed me up.
I
with the
have. I'm
tongue-tying.
done. This is what happens when I don't drink at all. I can't speak.
I did want to say that I liked the doctor in this and how screwed up he was, and that
Oh,
Chucky both was repulsed by and loved the guy at the same time.
he was taking notes on what a schmuck he is.
There was some good lines in there.
You know what else is pretty demented about Chucky is she tries to kill herself at one point, and he patches her up and tries, no, not till I'm ready for you to go.
With those
That's pretty-
big, like, toy stitches.
Yeah, I don't know how much bleeding that's going to stop.
It was like thread that was the size of thick shoelaces.
No, I really liked that part too. It showed how sadistic he was. That he went there to kill her, saw she wanted to die, so he's like, "Oh no, we can't have that now."
And just what about her? Now, she's a girl who is convicted of murdering people she did not murder. She's in a wheelchair because since she was a kid, she can't use her legs. She first gets banged by a guy she thinks is normal, turns out to be the multiple personality psycho. She regularly gets hypnotized and raped by her doctor, and Chucky's out to kill her. Good Lord.
Her life sucks.
You think you had a bad day.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so now it's nice. Now she's possessed. She can be in the driver's seat for a while.
And Andy coming to the asylum, whatever it is, all he thinks to do is pack like a gun in the belly of one Chucky, like has a 6-shooter, and he thinks that's what's going to get him all safe.
Which he then proceeds to shoot the doll 80 times in the stomach and then in the head. I'm like, what is your plan here?
And then bang, you're trapped inside a cell.
That was the worst plan ever.
Worst plan ever.
But you know what? That's why I think it's one of those things. It's whatever they plan with Andy, it's this episode was all this was all the setup.
The chessboard is set.
Your play.
You know,
Has Don Mancini done anything other than Child's Play that we would know of?
He has, well, right now he's a writer on that new Channel Zero series.
Oh, that's a good series.
Yeah, so he's written some episodes in season 2, and I found out that they already shot season 3. So if you're digging it, well, like I am, there's another season. He was also a writer for Hannibal because he was a big Hannibal fan. But he's mostly a writer. He only directed...
Oh, they reference Hannibal in it.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
He's like, that show was good. They canceled it too soon. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's mostly a writer. He directed Seed, Curse, and Cult.
He's a good writer.
He is.
All right. Any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, if somebody wants to get me and Jack a Christmas present, I will take a Tiffany doll, anatomically correct, and Jack will take a Chucky doll, anatomically correct.
No, I'll take
Brad Dourif's doll.
Brad Dourif's daughter. But in the good light, not the bad light.
Jason will take an Andy cutout.
I'll take a Squeam Queen, actually.
Squeam. He's squeamish.
Love.
So next week, we are watching The Babysitter, which is on Netflix, correct?
The Babysitter.
Baby, that's not in the theater, is it?
I think it's on Netflix, isn't it?
That's on Netflix.
It's not Netflix, but I like it so much, I'll probably get the Blu-ray.
I will probably watch it with my daughter.
I wonder if I'm going to like it or if I'm going to shit all over it.
Last call for alcohol, ladies and gentlemen.
As always, people, we appreciate everyone who watches in the live stream, checks the audio out on Wednesday mornings. If you like it, give it a thumbs up or a review wherever you listen to it or watch it. We always appreciate it. And we will see you for The Babysitter next week.
See ya.
My penis just squeamed itself.